And I'm Ahmaad.
And we're the Hoods. Yeah, because you tried to take it from me last week because I didn't do it. Welcome to Hood Tales, where we take you through the ups, downs, and merry-go-rounds of millennial marriage. We are halfway through season 4.
Yeah.
Only 5 more episodes to go.
Yeah.
Crazy work. Crazy work. Today we're actually going to be answering a listener question.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yes, we love it.
Yes, we do love them. So if you did not know, we are always open to suggestions for topics that you all want answered. You can always leave a comment on any post that you see with your question, a DM to either the Hood Tales page at Hood Tales Pod on Instagram, or the Facebook page, which is Hood Tales with Raven Ahmaad Hood. You can always DM either one of us. And you can also email us at hoodtalesadvice@gmail.com. Okay?
Yeah.
So there are multiple ways to get your questions answered.
Yes.
Or even just topics that you want us to discuss specifically. And so today we're going to be talking about who has the final say.
Jonathan Nelson.
Is that his song?
Oh no, that's
I know it is Judah's song, but it's not Judah's song.
No, it's
technically.
not.
It's JJ Harrison.
JJ Harrison. Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me who has the final say. Yeah, Jehovah has the final say. That's my good. No matter what
the doctor says,
Jehovah has. That's good. Anyway,
I have no reason to. Okay.
See, I have. We'll be to say this whole song. Anyway, in all seriousness.
I tell you, got to find out Jesus.
That's the point of the song, okay? Right. Who has the final say? But no, in all seriousness, the question was, in particular, was they wanted us to discuss moving, either moving out of state, moving in-state to a different city, and how to compromise on that when one partner doesn't really want to move and the other one really does, okay? So, as we know, compromise in marriage happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, from the simplest things, from whether or not where you're gonna go to dinner, what you're gonna eat for dinner, what movie you're gonna go see.
Yeah.
So of course these very big decisions as far as relocation, which are literally changing of your livelihood.
Life changes and decisions.
Truly. And so immediately, if you do not know, I am the biggest Office fan ever. I am never not watching The Office. Ever. It is always in my continue watching because I'm literally always watching it.
Always.
And he's not kidding. I
always.
am always watching The Office. So when I read the question, mine was like Pam and Jim season 9. Okay? Yeah. So to give the people a rundown, because Ahmaad had never actually seen, as many times as I have watched The Office, including here at home, he had never actually seen the full
I've seen
ending.
Snippets,
yeah, he had never seen the ending. And so I was watching the final episodes yesterday, and he was like, wait, what's happening? Because he didn't know that any of this had really ever transpired between Pam and Jim. And I was like, funny you're sitting here because we're going to talk about this on the podcast, okay? So to give the people a rundown. So Jim gets an offer from his friend to participate in this startup company that his friend is starting. This company for pretty much like sports management, except the athletes are like part of the management team type deal, okay? But the idea is actually an idea Jim gave him in college. Right, so he's starting the company with Jim's idea, and it's very important to remember that, okay? So there's that. Initially, when his friend brings him the idea, Jim and Pam talk about it, okay? And they decide no, okay? They have 2 babies. They have 2 stable, very good incomes. They decide that he's not going to take this risk. And Jim decides, without telling Pam, psych. He decides that he's gonna do this, okay? And so he decides to do it. All right, then he starts working part-time in Philly. So Philly is
where it's located.
Yes. Well, it's 2 hours away from Scranton. So if you never watched The Office, it's the whole thing. Okay, so he's 2 hours away from Scranton. All right, so a 2-hour drive. So not out of state, not far, but just a 2-hour drive, a few days a week. So while going through this, it literally wreaks havoc on their marriage. Okay, they're both pretty tense. Pam is pissed, to say the least. because he has chosen to make decision after decision regarding this company without including her, and pretty much going against what they have decided. Okay, they have blow up after blow up, major things happen. Just watch season 9, child. Okay, but then Pam goes down with Daryl, one of the other co-workers in the office, who is interviewing for a position at Jim's company called Athlete. And she just rides down with him and like surprises Jim, you know, just to see him on a day that she normally wouldn't have been able to. Okay, so while sitting there waiting for Daryl and Jim to finish in this interview, the receptionist is like, you know, it's so nice to meet you finally, woo. And he essentially tells her, like, he's talking about how amazing Jim is to work with and how amazing he is for the company. And he mentions to her that he can't wait for Jim to be in Philly full time. And she's essentially like, because what do you mean full time? Because yet again, Jim is choosing to make another decision regarding relocation without communicating with nor considering his wife, who was already not on board with this whole thing. Okay. They end up going to marriage counseling, okay, which I would say worked in a manner that it forced them to communicate about this. And also want to include here, because I don't want to make it seem like Pam was just being a sourpuss the entire time. She did also try to make this Philly relocation thing work even when she was against it. So one of Jim's co-workers set her up with an interview at a real estate company in Philly. She goes to an interview, like, she's very much so like doing her best to like lean into it, okay? Except it turns out that this guy would literally be like working for Michael Scott again, and the position is not what was listed on the posting. It was supposed to be like an office manager, kind of like her little office administrator role that she was working in, except it's not. It's back to being a receptionist for a Michael Scott type of manager, okay? And they have a big blow up yet again, because she was like, you know, she told me she didn't get the job. And then while they're at dinner together, she essentially is like, oh no, I didn't just, he offered it to me, I didn't take it, because I'm not about to work for him. I'm not about to work for another Michael Scott. I'm too grown for that. Okay? And she was like, this isn't working. Okay? So Jim ultimately decides to move back to Scranton and quit Athlete. Okay. Pam is really realizing, like, she's loving the fact that he's back because it's what she wanted. Okay. He's visibly irritated. Is he doing the same Jim antics in the office? Yes. But you can tell that there's a little light gone from that man's eyes. Just okay. Dim. Just dim. Okay. And then after about like 4 to 6 months, I think, because at this point the documentary airs, and she decides to sell their house without him knowing, okay, to give him the opportunity to go and chase this dream full time, now also on their shared agreed terms. Okay. Now that's the recap of what happens. Okay, so it does ultimately work out for Jim and Pam in this relocation situation. However, there are a lot of errors here that I feel like, and lessons that to be learned from their encounter with this happening in life. All right,
lessons to be learned. Lessons
to be learned. Okay, I know, and I say it all the time. Lessons to be learned. Okay. ET. Number one, emotional honesty is key. Emotional honesty and integrity is key. It is. I think that is a big part of when people say like communicate, like we struggle to communicate. It's because neither of you are emotionally honest. And emotionally honest does not always just mean, it doesn't start with you just telling someone how you feel. It starts with you knowing how you feel and knowing that with yourself. No, numero uno. Because you can't express what you don't feel, what you don't know that you're feeling. All right. So one, when they had the conversation about Jim going and like, you know, just starting this company, had he been more honest about how it was really a goal and really a dream come true, who's to say that she might not have been on board from the get-go? Yeah. Because if a mom was to look at me and be like, you know, I don't know, I got this crazy opportunity to go and be in Florida. Lord knows I do not want to live in Florida. Okay. But let's say,
but still.
But let's say though,
say
right?
the example.
Let's say it was Ahmaad and he got this giant idea to live in Florida. Like somebody brought him this crazy once in a lifetime opportunity that was like an ultimate end all be all dream for him. If he does not say to me, this is something I really want to do, I'm going to be like, Pam, it's in one ear out the other. Sounds great. Congrats to them. Okay? Like, I have no desire to make it be a thing. Even though I would literally rather die than live in Florida. But yeah, had he been more emotionally honest, that would have been it from the get-go.
That's very true. Also, I think that comes with, when it comes to you, if that was me, if I was in that case to where somebody offered me a position in Florida, whatever to be, you know, who knows, Rick Ross barber, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Playing for being a university barber.
Exactly.
Being a barber for a pro team, like
exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know, for one, you don't really want to move out of state. For two, I don't really want to move out of state. But if it's something that will truly change our lives for the better, I know I got to come to you and say, listen.
This is what I want to have happen.
This is what's on the floor.
Yeah.
And this is how I truly feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I think that's in everyday things. This is truly how I feel about it. And being honest about that. So that way your partner can make an informed emotional decision.
I fully agree. And I also feel like where Pam failed to be emotionally honest is that she wasn't vocal about how truly hard it was living like a single married mother of 2 children while he was gone. Had she been more honest about how difficult it was for her, because it's very visible to us as the viewer just how hard it is on Pam. But every time she talks to Jim on the phone, that is not the demeanor she has with him. I mean, very visible to everybody else.
Yeah, because he's following his dream. So he loves going to work every day. He's happy about going to work. He's happy to get up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? But you're at home with 2 kids.
And I feel like there are a lot of other factors that play into this. Like, without giving a whole 9-season background on Pam and Jim. Yeah. But, like, there's a period of time when Pam and Jim are just freshly dating, where she goes and does a 3-month, goes to a 3-month art program at Pratt Institute in New York. So, New York is, like, 3 hours from Scranton, okay? What Pam says verbatim, well, I'm probably paraphrasing now, child, but essentially what she says is that now is the time to do this before I have a husband and kids. When at any other point in life am I gonna have the freedom to go and chase this dream? She says it verbatim as to why she agrees to leave and uproot her life for 3 months. And I think that is also a part of relocation and being emotionally honest. A lot of people, once they have their children and, like, you know, their spouse, it's not feasible to be making a move like that. It's just not for a lot of people. So, you know, still being emotionally honest about what your plans are, what your dreams are, including relocation. Like, that's a thing for a lot of people. A lot of people want to live in several different states. Being honest about those, what seem to be little things, but they're very big things. Like, being emotionally honest at every point in marriage, including beforehand, about those goals and things that you would like to experience with life, including now that you have a partner. We've talked about this a little bit, Ahmaad and I. Someone on the podcast, but I don't know. I think we talked about it a little bit, but you just touched on it with us moving out of state. Like, moving out of state is not on my to-do list.
No.
It was a semi-fetched idea a few years ago, and then my mama got sick. That was itching and all of that.
For sure.
Because I realized I need to be within an hour drive for my own sanity and peace of mind. But we do plan on moving to a different city within the state. We haven't fully solidified where yet, but we're being very honest about that. We're being very honest about where I do not want to live. Like, I do not want to live within Detroit city limits. Don't want to do it. Okay? There are other metro Detroit cities I'm just not about to live in. It just ain't about to happen for me. You know what I'm saying? But then it's also a conversation of what does that look like financially? You know, Ahmaad is not going to be able to just pop up and open a shop.
Yeah. That's
in a new city like that. Okay, what does that look like financially? Does it look like me leaving my job and finding a new job in that new city? Because that would mean an hour plus commute one way. You know, like it's a very, and I'm about to do that. But that is also emotional honesty.
And I'm okay with doing that.
That is also emotional honesty. I'm not about to be doing all that. Because it's just not going to happen for me. Within the emotional honesty, it's a lot easier for whatever partner is against the move, against the job change, the whatever life transition that you are trying to pull your partner into, if they know the timeline on however long they're gonna have to be unhappy.
Yeah, because if I know it's 6 months, if I know it's a year, if I know it's 2 years, at least I know that there's an end.
Well, not only that, I know what I can sign up for.
Or if I want to sign up for it.
I know what I want to sign up for. It makes the parameters a lot clearer. So again, going back to Pam and Jim, okay? The entire time that Pam is upset and they're going through marriage counseling and they're going back and forth with one another, all Jim keeps saying is, if Pam would just hold on just a little while longer. And it's not until a conversation that the actual marriage counseling episode, I think it's like episode 14, 15, something like that, that Pam is talking to Nellie while Jim is talking to Toby. And what Jim says to Toby is, if Pam would just hold on a little while longer. And Toby says, well, how long is that? And Jim says, that's an unfair question. I know. See, I was like, he says that's why I told you to watch it. He says it's an unfair question.
We just fell asleep last night.
We did fall asleep last night, so you need to finish it. But it's an unfair question is what he says back. And Toby said if she knew how long she was going to have to be unhappy for, she'd be a lot easier to deal with.
It's very true.
Because she'd know when her unhappiness is coming to an end. But like seriously, because we've talked about potentially having to go back to Flint, our hometown. Lord knows that is not on my to-do list ever in life. However, if we did in fact have to, I need a timeline of just how long we plan to be back in Genesee County. Because, are we looking at just a year? You know what I mean? This is one apartment lease.
I'm trying to look at it.
I ain't trying to look at it.
No, I'm saying,
I don't know if I can sign on for a year. I'd rather work 4 jobs than have to move back to Flint for a year. And I'm not kidding.
Please.
But being clear on those parameters, okay? And honestly, y'all may not like my answer, but the answer to who has the final say, and I'm not even being, I do my best not to end our podcast episodes without having a clear resolution. I call them a sign of hope. Yeah, is a resolve to whatever issue we're discussing. I do my best to end them like that. But unfortunately, who has the final say is because somebody's gonna have to cave. And how that caving looks, how that caving of unhappiness is dealt with, don't know. Don't know. Because as I said earlier about Pam and Jim, Jim decides to quit the job in Philly and move back home because he realizes he's about to lose his wife. Everybody is not willing to do that. And which is why I said, because it depends on what is more important to you.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I can't be of more help than that. I don't know. I think that being emotionally honest, I think that being clear about what you want out of life and doing your best to make sure your partner is a part of that vision is the only bit of tidbit and resolve and hope I can give you. Because Ahmaad ain't trying to move out of state on me. Ahmaad hasn't taken no job that we have discussed and therefore saying he decides to say yes to behind my back.
Also, I wouldn't take a job without therefore discussing to you what the requirements are for said job.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
But everybody not like that, as we saw with Pam and Jim. No, I mean, granted, that's TV, but like that is a very real thing.
It is.
It's a very real thing. Like people do make decisions like that, and I understood.
I fully understand.
I understood where Jim was coming from. Because in the pilot of season, well, not pilot, in the premiere episode, is that what it's called in this new season?
Yes.
In the premiere episode of season 9, they're coming back from summer. So, like, I don't know if you watched The Office, it's a typical thing. They're like, how was your summer? Because they come back in the fall. When they're back, I don't know why, like it's like they're back in school. But when they, it's like, how was your summer? And Pam essentially was like, nothing much has changed with us, right? And as they're about to unmic and go back to their desk, Pam says, when you got 2 kids at home and you work a job, life is going to be the same for us for a very long time. And at that moment, you see Jim's eyes kind of widen. And it is in that episode that he calls that man back at the end of the workday and tells him that he's in. So it's just like, you know, like the thought of life not changing for him again sounded crazy. But that's the boring individual he married. Like, it just is. Like, that is who Pam is. That's who she always has been. And unfortunately for him, his wife didn't change.
Nope.
His wife didn't change. So I don't know. The answer is, who has the final say? Whichever one of y'all is willing to be unhappy.
That's real. And a lot of people aren't.
Or happy with your choices.
Unhappy. Yeah. And to be perfectly honest, I think being emotionally honest, having emotional integrity, no matter what the resolve is at the end of the day, you've done all you can do.
Stand.
You know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Because you've done all you can do. When you look back on it, you should be able to say, I'm happy with whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I've put my best foot forward for you to make whatever decision you need to make, you know, whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because even in the, once Jim decides to come back, Daryl is consistently like, you really think Jim is happy here? Jim is happy being a paper salesman.
Kept saying that to Pam.
He kept saying it. He was like, I just don't want him to ever regret it. And I think that Pam was already feeling that way, but hearing it from someone else kind of like in her brain a little bit. And so she finally has this outburst and she tells Jim, she's like, I don't think I'm enough for you. And so he's like, no. I chose to come back because you literally are everything to me. And I think that that's a choice.
It is.
You know, it is a choice to choose your partner over a career. It is your choice to choose your career over your partner. And it is, we talked about it in rearranging, you know, your priorities. This season, I don't know if that was the actual episode title, but that's what we talked about.
Rearranging your priorities.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. So, I mean, two or three, yeah. So I just, you know, I don't know. I don't know who has the final say. And that's it on that. I'm so sorry I don't have a more logical answer. But it truly is a case-by-case study. It is what you are willing to put up with, how long.
Yeah.
Because even Mrs. Kev on Stage and Kev on Stage from the Love Hour podcast, they talked about their move to LA often.
Very often.
And how Melissa was really against it. She is the Pam in this situation.
Yep.
Now, Kevin didn't make no move without her. However, she was not for it.
Yeah.
She was not for this move whatsoever until she got a job that was going to be able to sustain them while he did what he wanted to do. And Pam did try this, right? She like I said, she went to the interview. So even that was her trying to lean into the dream. And also, that's part of the lack of emotional honesty. He wasn't even honest about the fact that this was a dream of his. Like, how's she supposed to know?
But most people would just say, you should. You're supposed to know. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, she didn't even know there was a dream of his. Now, I will say, in an earlier episode of The Office, where Dwight is caught up playing this game called Second Life, is essentially Sims. Jim, in this, his character in this, is a sports agent in Philly.
That's so funny.
That is his job in his Sims, because it's his dream job that he had never voiced to her. And even in that, she was like, oh, in this you're a sports agent in Philly? Oh, really? Like, you know, and they weren't even dating yet, I don't believe. So even in that, right? And actually, I take that back. They might have been dating at that point. I can't remember. Either way it go, that was something that he still had never voiced to her. So I think that being honest, like I said, about your dreams and goals and plans is just the biggest key. Because then people can move forward in honesty. They can handle your dreams and goals with a little bit more care, versus it just being like in one ear and out the other. So I don't know who gets the final say. That's up to you to decide. But just be honest. That's the biggest thing I can give you.
Honestly. I've always told Raven, well, I can't say always, being in therapy and, learning to be emotionally honest myself about the things that I want, the things that I value. The one thing that I've told Raven in my newfound honesty is that she's my wife, but she will always be my friend as well.
Period, poo. Besties for resties.
And she will always be my friend first because she was my friend first. So whatever my friend needs to do that is going to help her be the best version of herself that she can possibly be, whether that includes me or not, I am all for it. And I know that sounds crazy. Everybody gonna be like, y'all married, what is going on? But I want her to be her best self. And sometimes, and again, y'all might not agree with this either, but even the people in your life can hold you back from being your best self.
No, for real. What they say, everybody on this level can't go with me to the next one.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I gotta cut people off every New Year.
Nah, I don't know what she talking about.
I mean, it is the same thing though.
But it is. But yeah, like I want her to do whatever it is that she wants to do that is going to truly help her to be who she's called to be. And I'm not gonna get in the way of that. I might not feel good about it, but I ain't gonna get in the way of it. Not at all. You wanna know why? Because I don't want her to get in the way of me. And it's just that simple. For me, at least. You know what I'm saying? I can't say the same for everybody. But, yeah. Do you have anything else to add?
I want the best for you, but it better include me.
Of course.
That's all I got to say. No.
6'7". She's nuts.
No, I don't have anything else to add. Do you?
No.
What's your hood highlight for today?
What's yours?
I already asked you first.
Yeah, I know you did. It's okay to be about your dreams and goals. It's also okay to be about your spouse and or your partner. What you have to do though is figure out how the two line up and move accordingly. But include them every step of the way.
That's perfect.
How about you?
My hood highlight would literally just have to be that closed mouths do not get fed. And being honest about how you feel is one, freeing, both good and positive. Both good and negative. And don't expect people to chase your dream if they don't know that it is one.
But I love it.
So yeah, that'll be that for that. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you so much.
Yet again, we are halfway through season 4. So if you haven't been watching, go on, catch up. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify for podcasts, and you can always watch us visually if you would like, because we do look cute. If you
look good.
You can always watch us on my YouTube channel, Raven Camille TV. There's a playlist labeled Hood Tales, so you can catch up from all episodes.
All episodes from season 1.
Yeah, from before we were actually on Apple. But yeah, I think I already mentioned that social medias at the beginning because I talked about sending us.
No, you just said you can reach out to us on social media.
Follow us on Instagram. I'm on Instagram and TikTok _Raven Camille. You can find the podcast Instagram page at Hood Tales Pod at podcast. Sorry, Hood Tales Podcast on Instagram as well, and on Facebook with Hood Tales with with Raven Ahmaad Hood.
And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at _the Gentleman's Groomer.
And if you have any advice, questions, and or topics that you want us to cover, you can email us at hoodtalesadvice@gmail.com. Till next time, y'all. Bye.